Guys, there are a million different ways to plan for 2024. There are a million different things that are probably running through your head, probably some goals, some ideas that you're going to set for yourself in 2024. And most of the time we hear the same things kind of over and over and over again, which is okay. That's part of the deal, right? But I want to challenge you to think differently. Truly, there's only one thing that you need to be focusing on in order to be successful in 2024. And here's how I know this. I don't know if you're aware, but I've built 4 businesses in the last 10 years in real estate. I've consulted tech companies that are now going to be billion-dollar companies on comps and investment properties and numbers and things like that. All of the businesses that I have built have been between top 3% to top 0.5% in the United States. I did this as a mom. I did this being brand new. I did this in an area where I did not have connections. So when it comes to understanding that there is a rhyme and a reason for success in real estate, I know this to be true. Here's another thing I want to prove to you. Here's another reason why I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I want to give this belief to you that this is what you need to be successful in real estate. I have been coaching agents for over 2 years. I've created many top producing multiple 6-figure agents at this point. And that's just me helping them part-time, super part-time. And here's another thing that I know. I coach people from 0 transactions, people who are doing by themselves, not on a team, 160 plus transactions a year. And every single one of them needed one or more of the things that I'm going to show to you today. And when I started looking back, ultimately what I realized is every agent has a different story, and technically they're in a different place. And yes, they need an approach to growth and to a plan that fits their life goals, their place in the business, their knowledge set, all the things. But when it push came to shove, every single one of them needed these same 5 things. From the person who had done 0 deals to the person who had done 160 plus. And basically, I was coaching on the same things every single time, no matter where they were at in the business. And so when I say that I want to give you this gift of understanding how to stay focused and not lose focus in 2024, this is really going to change your life. Here's another way I want to show you. Since I have told you I've built, 3 top 1% to 0.5% businesses in the US and 1 top 3%. That was my first one that I ever did. I am going to tell you a story. You can have one element of the 5 things that I'm going to teach you today, or 2 or 3 or 4, and you can actually be successful. But without all 5 of them, you will always own a job. You will never own a business. That is what I saw over and over and over again and over and over and over again. Okay. So if you can stay focused and this year get through these 5 things, you will own a business instead of a job. Guys, nobody got into real estate to change, basically go from 9 to 5 to 24/7 forever. And that's what I see so many people doing. This is my gift to you. This is my passion. I will scream this from the rooftops to everyone that cares to listen, because it changed my life when I was able to learn these 5 things. So here's the first thing that you have to remember today. If you want to stay focused, is that framework brings focus. I'm going to say that one more time. Framework brings focus. Without a framework, you might have focus, but you might be focusing on the wrong thing. You might be focusing on the right thing at the wrong time or in the wrong order. Or you might just be focused on something that until you've done it for 2 to 3 to 5 years, this is what happened to me. And I'm about to show you that story here in a minute. You end up with a business that you didn't mean to create, this kind of success. And you're like, the business controls your life instead of you controlling the business. Here is the framework that not just from my experience, but hundreds of other agents have to have in order to be successful in real estate and go from owning a job to owning a business. So I'm going to screen share with you and pull this up. I like to think of it as almost like a wheel of success, but ultimately it is that framework. And I did come up with this because it is what I've walked through and what I've seen now hundreds of other agents walk through. So this is the framework that you need to build to be successful in real estate, no matter what. You need to have leads. Now that seems really naive. Of course you need to have leads, Jenna. That's the thing everybody talks about all the time. We need to have leads. We need to have systems. We need to have value add. We need to have conversion, and we need to have consistency. That is the wheel. Now, I'm going to share with you some surefire ways to make sure that you fail or have success in a way that will keep you grinding forever. And that to me is not failure. There's no such thing as failure. There's only lessons. My story about being literally 6 to 7 years ago is that I had built a business where all I had was some leads, I had consistency, and I was a killer at conversion. Now, I had to learn that the hard way. I started my business off of cold calls and online leads. I had nothing else. And I would call people 12 hours a day. And I learned how to convert. Honestly, not to brag. Again, I learned it the hard way. Just pedal to the metal, for 2 years, basically, of lots of failure before I was successful, lots of lessons before I was successful, but conversion. Okay. Let me tell you, if you go back to that wheel and we reference that, what I created on accident was a business that had leads, and it had a lot of consistency. I was very consistent. I was hungry. I was driven. I was going to make it happen. And I had conversion, but I did not stand out in the marketplace. In other words, I did not have a value add. I did not know how I was different from other agents. And I had no systems to support the success that was just around the corner for me. And so I ended up pregnant with my first child and so overwhelmed that after he was born, I never saw him. I worked 80 to 90 hours a week. I won all the awards. I had all the accolades and I had no life. And after 2 to 3 years of that, combined with postpartum depression, I say that and it makes people uncomfortable. Since I have felt called to coach in the last 2 years, I know 4 people who have followed through with those horrible thoughts that are all entrepreneurs in real estate. And it breaks my heart. And I was like, this is my freaking mission. I was like, people have got to know this because we spend so much time as an industry grasping at what creates success. And people, if we have this framework, we stay focused, and we will have the pieces necessary to create a business that is sustainable. So rewind. I had leads, conversion, and consistency, but I had no value add. I had no market differentiation, same thing, and I had no systems to support my success. No people, no technology, all the things. And it led me down a really, really dark path where I was literally a slave to my business. My marriage was struggling and I never saw my kid. And quite frankly, obviously, I was struggling. And during that time, and I had some health problems and medication that helped, I gained 100 pounds. Like literally, it was literally going to if I couldn't get a grip on this. And so anyway, it's a long story, but I almost, it was really 2017. I actually removed myself from a business that I had built to Inc. 1000 in the United States, which is quite an accomplishment. I said, I cannot do this anymore. And I started over a third time with a 4-year-old. Well, actually, no, he was 2 at the time. Fast forward a little bit more, 2019, it really hit me. I kind of struggled for a couple years trying to figure out how to do this in this new way, work-life balance. I learned to say no. I learned to say yes only to the right things. But I basically found out that I might have cancer in 2019. And thank God I didn't, but it was 2 months of intense medical appointments. And that 2 months changed my life. And it made me realize going back, this is what agents need to be successful. There's a next level if you want to grow a team or whatever, but this is what you need as an agent. This is your framework. If you work off this framework, you will stay focused and you will have success if you put in enough time. These were my formulas that led to that kind of crash in my life. So this is what led me down to my path of destruction. Leads plus consistency is what I had in the beginning. That's what got me to top 3%. I worked harder, and never smarter. And I had a few sales and I had major burnout. The second business that I built that took me to top 1% had leads plus consistency plus conversion. That's when conversion came in. And I was like, slaying. But I had lots of money and I had no life. That was my story. What we're missing from the second one that would have helped me is systems and value add. Here's what I'm going to show you. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel burnt out? Maybe it's because all you have is leads and conversion. No systems, no value add. And guys, here's another thing. Consistency is missing from this equation. I don't know, turn it on for a month or 2 at a time and have some leads and convert. But here's the thing. You don't have consistency in your income. And it's because you don't have consistency in your conversion. So leads plus conversion alone without the rest of it is overwhelm. Period. End of story. That's how it works every time. I've seen hundreds of times. Hundreds. People wanted to quit over just doing it this way. Okay. I wanted to quit too. In the past, I wanted to quit a whole lot. Here's another surefire way to make sure that you build a business that is a job that you feel stuck in. Leads plus systems minus conversion. I know a lot of people, this is probably the fewest. Your techie people, which is few and far between in the real estate industry. Your techie people, you know how to get leads, you know how to build systems. But then when it comes to talking to a human being, you're not converting, or you're getting to the closing table and you do not know why they always choose someone else. Guys, it is because you do not have conversion techniques or skills yet, and you don't have a value add, and you're not probably executing with consistency. Now, sometimes with systems, you can have consistency in your communication, but if you sit down at the table and they don't choose you, you're missing conversion and you're missing value add. So this means very little money and a lot of overwhelm, lots of frustration. This is one of my favorite ones. This is what I see a lot. I see agents come to me and they're like, Jenna, I have leads and I call them all the time and I just don't get anywhere with these people. Like, I can't even tell you. I've heard this from agents on my team. I've heard this from agents that I've coached that are not on my team. They're on other people's teams. Leads plus consistency without conversion is 100% you're going to be frustrated. Now, what makes conversion easier? Value add, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Rewind this, write it all down, write down these formulas for yourself and make sure, assess your business, like go back and be like, what piece am I missing? And I promise you, you will find it as one of these 5. This one's a little obvious. I won't spend much time on it. Systems plus consistency minus too few leads. I see this a lot too. They're like, well, I have 100 people in my CRM. Okay, guys, you can have systems, which is your CRM, and you can work it consistently. But if you're working the same 100 people over and over and over and over and over and over again, book something with somebody. You're going to have too few deals. This is probably what I see with people who close between 4 and 12 transactions a year. They just don't have enough leads. You're probably converting the leads that you do have, but if you do not have enough, you're not going to have enough business. Or maybe you're doing this for retirement and that is enough. All right. I don't know your goals, but if you really want to build a business that has exponential growth, you've got to plug into these 5. Okay. So this is going to lead to frustration. And I know agents, somebody's going to come on here and be like, well, Jenna, what about referrals? All those turn to referrals. Yes, they do. And if you have systems, you will have a way to convert those referrals. But guys, do you want exponential growth or do you want linear growth? But you want cyclical exponential growth, not linear growth. If you really want to like own this as HIT and go places. Okay. So this is where we get stuck a lot of times. Okay. We're almost done. I would like to say this is a big one. Fill in the blank minus a value add. If you have consistency, if you have leads, if you have conversion, if you have all these things, but you don't know how you're different than other agents, you are going to be a job slave. And here's how I know. This was me. I was killing it. I actually had everything in place, but I had no idea how to tell people that I'm different from the one person to the next. And I have to say, when it comes to getting creative, this is probably the thing where you will have to dig the deepest. How are you really different? If you don't know the answer to that question, I don't care if I'm the coach that you hire somebody else, get a coach, go to your mentor. Go to your broker. I don't care who it is and say, what can I offer people that's different from someone else? If all I can do is put something on the MLS and make sure that I communicate a little bit better than someone else, like everyone can do that, guys. We've got to dig deep and get creative. You've got to stand apart. If you have no way to stand out, you will always be a job slave. I can walk into a room and feel confident that 99.99% of any other agent in there cannot touch what I can do for someone else. And you can all have that. I ain't special. Main photo. Why is this in the middle? Why is conversion in the middle? Well, guys, if you can have all the leads, you can even have a market differentiator, you can have systems, and you can even have consistency. And without conversion, you're stuck because you have got to be able to get people to say yes to you. And here's the thing. Getting people to say yes to you is not about convincing or persuading them. It is about leading them well and having something that they need and understanding what they need. It is serving, not selling. I'm not good at sales. I am good at communicating my value to people and listening to what they want and connecting the two. That's serving, not selling. That's what we need to know. So last formula, you can have consistency, leads, value add, and systems, but without conversion, it's not going to go anywhere because that's how you get people to say yes to you and commit to working with you. So assess your business today, like go look at it and say, am I missing one of these pieces? Here's one thing that I would like to say. with consistency, a lot of people are like, well, what about mindset, Jenna? Or what about this, that, and the other? You won't be consistent without working on your mindset. So I think of the two as the same. With this consistency factor, the only thing that is going to keep you fired up is how you work on yourself. You have to become the person that you need to become to bring that discipline, which brings freedom, which is consistency. Okay. Consistency actually builds freedom. And the further down this ecosystem, this framework that you get, you will get better at it. And that is when, like me, I was basically bedridden for 4 weeks. Y'all heard me, the throat thing. Some of you were on for those. I had 4 surgeries. I was bedridden. And because of the seeds that I have sown, this framework that I have built my life off of, not just my business, but my life. I had family time. I went out of the country. I went out of the state right after all these surgeries. Okay. I couldn't even talk for weeks. And we got multiple new listings, multiple new buyers, so many I had to send out nearly a dozen referrals, all these new listings and like 7 new transactions. And I didn't prospect a single soul because of the seeds that I have sown in this system that now sows seeds for me while I am sleeping. So having said that, I'm going to leave you one more time with this framework brings focus. This is the framework. I don't care what coaching program you're in, work on this. And if you are interested in working with me and my team, I am taking 5 to 12 agents through this framework in their business between the end of this month and April of next year. All right. Now, this is not a pitching session. You guys are my people. You're my JPAR people, and you can come to me every Wednesday for value like this. So, but no matter what you do, please look at your business with this framework in mind and figure out what domino do you need to knock over to get this in place for your business this coming year. And I promise you, it will not just change your business. It will totally give you freedom in your life too. And that's what I'm about. So I can help you move your business forward. But if it's actually making your life worse, which is what all the coaching programs for me in the past did, it just made me feel really overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this too. Then do this framework and it will give your life back to you if you implement it. Okay. I'm going to go. So if you need to get in touch with me or you want anything from me, you want more information on what we're doing, you can also email me at jennaharris@jpar.com. And I would love to talk to you guys, answer any more questions. And you can see me here again next week. I'll talk to you all soon. And I can't wait to see how you will win more using this framework in 2024. All right. Bye, everybody.